Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Caffe, Lena. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight, wherever in the world you're tuning in from. We are so excited to welcome Old Songs to the Caffe Lena stage. This is by no means a new partnership, but it is a new virtual partnership, and we're so excited to be presenting shows with them in the coming weeks. This is the first one, and we are so excited to welcome Bennett and Koldewey. They will be sharing shanties and songs of the sea with you this evening. So be sure to say hi to me in the chat. If you want to support these amazing musicians and Caffe Lena, you can donate to the virtual tip jar. It's caffelena.org/tips. Everything you donate helps us continue to bring you amazing live stream concerts every single night. So thanks so much for tuning in, and I'm going to pass it over to Joy and Chris.
Thank you so much.
To venture your sweet life, the bold privateer. Who will go with me? Who will go with me? Who will go with me, my love, going across the sea?
Oh, my dearest Molly, your friends do me despise, and you have two brothers who freely take my life. Come and change your ring with me, come change your ring with me. Let it be a token while I am on the sea.
Who will go with me? Who will go with me? Who will go with me, my love, going across the sea? When this war is over, should heaven spare my life, I'll return home to my intended wife. Then I'll get married to my charming Molly dear, and forever bid adieu the bold privateer. Who will go with me? Who will go with me? Who will go with me, my love, going across the sea? Who will go with me? Who will go with me? Who will go with me, my love, going across the sea?
Thank you. Thank you. And the crowd goes wild. That's an old tune that actually started off older than when we got it back in Europe, called Bold Privateer. Ended up, I think, down in Virginia, and I learned it from the singing of Jeff Warner and Jeff Davis. So
cool. So this will be the first of a few shanties that we'll do, and if you're keeping score, it's a double pull halyard shanty. Come to our workshop at some point and find out about it.
what workshop would that be, since you happen to have broached the subject rather early? In April, we are going to be doing a program on the work songs and the shanties and some of the ballads, similar to what you're seeing tonight, but with a whole lot more academic explanation. And that will be in April from Folk Music Society of New York. Google that. It's wonderful.
Google that, yes. Did you ever see a wild goose sailing on the ocean? Ranzo, Ranzo, way, hey. It's just like them pretty girls when they gets the notion. Ranzo, Ranzo, way, hey. The other morning I was walking by the river, Ranzo, Ranzo, way, hey. I saw a young girl walking with her topsails all a-quiver. Ranzo, Ranzo, way, hey. I said, pretty fair maid, and how are you this morning? Ranzo, Ranzo, way, hey. She said, none the better for the seeing of you. Ranzo, Ranzo, way, hey. Did you ever see a wild goose sailing on the ocean? Ranzo, Ranzo, way, hey. It's just like them pretty girls when they gets the notion. Ranzo, Ranzo, way, hey.
Now, the next tune, you're going to note some similarities, not the least of which is the mention of the wild geese or the wild goose. And in some writings, Ireland is referred to as the Wild Goose Nation. And learned this from the singing of Louisa Jo Killen, formerly known as Lou Killen, or Louis Killen. And I've heard it described as kind of an Irish, take this job and shove it. It's more fantasy than anything else. And it goes something like this. It's also one of the work songs, and that's kind of the big difference between the shanty and songs of the sea. The shanty was specifically used at work during the mid-19th century, early 20th century. I'm a rambling son of the wild goose nation, all away, all away, all away, hold hard, and I left me wife on that big plantation. All away, me boys, all away, now the sassiest gal in the wild goose nation. All away, all away, all away, old heart is left back there on that big plantation. All away, me boys, all away. Well, the first day out from the wild goose nation. All away, all away, all away, old heart, I sore did lament and regret my situation. All away, me boys, all away, for it's pat, do this and that and mind your station. All away, all away, all away, hold hard, you're a lousy son of the wild goose nation. All away, me boys, all away. So I turned right around and I gave 'em all a pasting. All away, all away, all away, hold hard, for I am a true son of the wild goose nation. All away, me boys, all away. Well, I'm bound to America to get an education. All away, all away, all away, hold hard, for I am a true son of the wild goose nation. All away, me boys, all away. High enough.
And what does that mean?
High enough. We were raising a yard on that. We were setting sail. And when the mate is done, he knows that or the mate sees that everything is done and all is in order. He yells out, high enough, because in salty, cryptic sailor talk, that means that the yard is high enough.
Not a shanty, but a wonderful sea song, song about the sea. Al Power actually wrote this one a number of years ago, many, many years ago. Sorry, Al. And Arctic exploration, you've heard of the Shackleton expedition, you've heard of many, many Arctic accidents. 1871, there were many ships lost in the Arctic in a big disaster. This is a story of a ship waiting for another ship to come and save her and the crew. It talks about John Ross, who was a captain of the Victory. It talks about Isabella. Isabella's a ship that saved John Ross and the crew. So that's the history of it. Unicorns play out in Baffin Bay, and the whalefish they run free. But our ship lies still in an icy cell, 1/2 mile from the open sea. We were running ashore, lead free and clear, great bounty the seas brought forth, till an ice pack closed on a wayward gale, crashing in from the cursed north. Now the long dark winter's closing in, great southwesters roar, and we're waiting for Isabella, hoping we'll live to see green England shore. We tried to mill all through the ice, but the rowboats all were lost. So we work in the bow to patch the cracks opened up by the Arctic frost. And on windy nights we sleep on deck with our gear up from below, for a sudden shift could stave her in, and it's on to the ice we'll go. Now the long dark winter's closing in, great southwesters roar, and we're waiting for Isabella, hoping we'll live to see green England shore. Now when Isabella saved John Ross, for years in the ice was he, and he had provisions plenty, but few supplies have we. We never learned, like the Eskimo, how to hunt for the seal or hare, and we fear we'd all be lost or starved, or a meal for the great white bear. Now the long dark winter's closing in, great southwesters roar, and we're waiting for Isabella, hoping we'll live to see green England shore. The northern lights dance off Cape Searle, but their beauty's lost on me. I'd trade all the gold in a whaler's hold for the green of an English tree. For the unicorns play out in Baffin Bay, and the whalefish they run free. But our ship lies still in an icy cell, 1/2 mile from the open sea. Now the long dark winter's closing in, great southwesters roar, and we're waiting for Isabella, hoping we'll live to see green England shore. And if she comes, we'll go to sea no more. Thank you, thank you. What about those captains?
A little bit east of here lived a lady named Lena Fish in East Jeffreys, New Hampshire. And she was collected by actually a number of the major collectors. Frank Warner was one, and from Vermont, Helen Hartness Flanders. And she gave this song to both of them. Now, it's another one that may have started out in England. It's known there as the Liverpool Landlady, or sometimes the Green Beds. And Sailors, particularly the sea captains, would have many times invested in whatever their trip was going to be. Meaning, if something happened during that cargo transportation and you lost it all, you lost everything. That would mean that an otherwise relatively well-off kind of guy, like a sea captain, would be destitute and would not be, let's say you were a good prospect if, let's say you were a tavern owner and you had a daughter that you wanted to marry said captain and be well off, would no longer be a good prospect for that. I'll tell you of a sailor, his name was Captain John. They reported him a failure with his ship and cargo gone. He spent his money freely and he did not count the cost. When in a foreign harbor his fortune was lost. His ship hove into port and he landed at the quay. No friend came to greet him, so I have heard them say. With his old-time courage he did sing a merry song. No one had a greeting for the failure Captain John. He called into a pub that he often did lodge in. No one bid him welcome as he boldly entered in. He kindly asked the landlord, as brisk could be, send down your daughter Polly and sit her down by me. Have you forgot your reckonings to me, Captain John? For the gold you owe me I have surely waited long. My daughter Polly's busy and she cannot come to thee. Little in your company she likes for to be. Now Johnny being weary, he hung down his head. He then called for a candle for to light him to bed. My beds, they are not empty, John, and shall not be all week. For some other lodgings, poor Johnny, you must seek. Come, tell to me your reckonings, down they shall be paid. That I'll not pay my reckonings, you need not be afraid. It's 45 shillings, John, as I have often told. Now it must be paid in silver or in gold. John put his hands in his pockets, he pulled out some gold. It is the same old story that so oft times has been told. The sight of the money made the old landlord rue. He said, hearty greeting, John, I spoke in jest to you. I'll call down my daughter Polly and sit her down by you. She loves you truly, Captain John, and never has been true. You need not seek for lodgings, for you are a friend of mine. You to Polly sure will prove a husband true and kind. Before I'd lodge in your house, I'd lie out on the street. Instead of kindly welcome, in scorn you did me greet. You thought I had no money and you turned me from your door. Now I'll seek a sweetheart on a far-off distant shore. Captain John from Lena Born Fish.
So whaling. Fortunately, not a lot of whaling happening these days, but back in the mid-1800s, whaling was a big business. And there were different ways to end up on a whaling ship. You could sign on because you needed money. You could think it's all glory and young and you want to see the world, you could be shanghaied. But it often was a very, very long, long voyage, and often you didn't have a lot of pay at the end of it. Oh, if I had the wings of a gull, me boys, I'd spread 'em and fly home. I'd leave old Greenland's icy ground, for the right whale here is none. Oh, the weather's rough and the winds do blow. There's little comfort here, and I'd sooner be snug in a Deadford pub, drinking of strong beer. Oh, a man must be mad, or he's wanting money bad, to venture catching whales, for he may be drowned when the fish turns around, or his head bashed in with its tail. Though the work seems grand to a young green hand, and his heart is high when he goes, in a very short burst he'd as soon as hear a curse as the cry of "There she blows." All hands on deck now, for God's sake, move briskly if you can. And he stumbles on deck so dizzy and so sick, and his fate he don't give a damn. High overhead the great fluke spread, the mate gives the whale the iron, and soon the blood in a purple flood from his spout all comes a-flying. These trials we bear for nigh on 4 years, till our flying jib points to home. We're supposed for our toil to get a bonus on the oil and an equal share of the bone. We go to the agent to settle for the trip, and there we have cause to repent, for we've slaved away 4 years of our lives, and we've earned about £3.10.
Now, interesting thing about the way that ends, that their pay was so low, and that is because the whalermen were paid on what is called a lay, meaning they were getting a percentage of the voyage, which means if you have what's called greasy luck, you're going to be pretty well off, you're going to make a good salary out of that. But if you are having rotten luck, if the whales are just not coming and you've been out for years and it's now costing more to keep her out there than it is in money that's going to be returned, you may come back, in some cases, even owing the ship money as a whalerman. Now, this next tune came from a journal of an actual whalerman, and was from a wonderful book that has recently come out called Jolly Sailors Bold by, oh goodness gracious me,
Stuart Frank.
Stuart Frank, thank you, of course, the founder of the Mystic Seaport shanty staff. Anyway, so this one, the only thing that you really need to know in this is that the 19th century slang term, the elephant, if you want to see the elephant, is meaning going all around the world. Come, all you young and jolly lads, and listen to my song. 'Tis of a blubber hunter that to Bedford does belong. 'Twas in the year of 55 when she from Bedford went, and when we had been out a year we hadn't made a cent. And come along, oh come along, I say. Come along, the jolly lads, we'll go another way. And when we've been a season north in this true and steady barge, we'll then go into some good port and get a true discharge. On one summer's morning when my mind was not at ease, I picked up my traps and started to sail upon the seas. The voyage was long and tedious as around the world we went, and when to Bedford we arrived we didn't have a cent. And come along, oh come along, I say. Come along, me jolly lads, we'll go another way. And when we've been a season north in this true and steady barge, we'll then go into some good port and get a true discharge. We had on board a mixed-up crew as ever went to sea. The nations aided number 10 besides the Portuguese. Now some were black and some were white and some to sea were sent, and some had been a great expense to our federal government. Then come along, oh come along, I say. Come along, the jolly lads, we'll go another way. When we've been a season north in this true and steady barge, we'll then go into some good port and get a true discharge. Ooh, some of the boys did feel all right, some were very sick, and some did get an extra rap and some an extra kick. But I'll tell to you the honest truth as I had it told to me. If you want to see the elephant, you better go to sea. And come along, oh come along, I say. Come along, the jolly lads, we'll go another way. And when we've been a season north in this true and steady barge, we'll then go into some good port and get a true discharge. Come along, oh come along, I say. Come along, the jolly lads, we'll go another way. And when we've been a season north in this true and steady barge, we'll then go into some good port and get a true discharge.
So many of the songs that we sing about the sea and many shanties typically talk about the hard work that the men do. This is not a shanty, it is a song of the sea, it's a fishing song, but it talks about the work that the women do, specifically the fishermen's wives. Now, in Peterhead, Scotland, back a very long time ago when the fishing was plenty, the women would carry the men on their shoulders out to the boats, the fishing boats, so that the men could stay dry. Then they would walk back to the shore and do the rest of their chores. Now, when they were walking back to the shore, they had these very long skirts that would billow up on the top of the water, and it looked like mushrooms over the ocean. So there's a painting of that, and it's wonderful because you can really see the mushrooms. So, take a deep breath. You know I will. The rest of the Johnson girls swear this is not in English, but it is. Who would be a fisherman's wife to work with a tub and a scrubber and a knife, a dyed-out fire and a raveled bed and a wait to the mussels in the morning? Here we come scouring in, 3 reefs to the foresail in. There's not a dry stitch to put on our back, but still we're all teetotalers. Now give us a hand to run a ripper lead, to try for the coddies in the Bay of Peterhead. There may be at the lummies the clock at set is dead, and we're off to the Smallings in the morning. Here we come scouring in, 3 reefs to the foresail in. There's not a dry stitch to put on our back, but still we're all teetotalers. Me poor old father's in the middle of the floor, beating hooks onto tippets and they're hanging on his chair. There may be horse's hair, for that's the best of gear to be going to the fishing in the morning. Here we come scouring in, 3 reefs to the foresail in. There's not a dry stitch to put on our back, but still we're all teetotalers. And it's easy for the cobbler sitting in his nook, his big copper kettle hanging on a crook. But we're in the bow and we cannot get a hook, and it's our hard work in the morning. Here we come scouring in, 3 reefs to the foresail in. There's not a dry stitch to put on our back, but still we're all teetotalers. Down the Gettle Braes in the middle of the night, with an old syrup tin and a candle for a light, to gather up the pullers, every one of them in sight, to get the line baited for the morning. Here we come scouring in, 3 reefs to the foresail in. There's not a dry stitch to put on our back, but still we're all teetotalers. It's not the kind of life that a gentlequine thole, with her fingers red raw and a scrubbing out a yole. Little on her hip, she's away to carry coals, she'll be cold sore done in the morning. Here we come scouring in, 3 reefs to the foresail in. There's not a dry stitch to put on our back, but still we're all teetotalers. Who would be a fisherman's wife, to work with a tub and a scrubber and a knife, a dyed-out fire and a ravelled bed, and away to the mussels in the morning?
And you'll notice by that one, the women are still doing all the work. We had the wonderful chance over in the UK to know a fellow named Roy Harris, who was not only a fantastic singer of the songs, but he was a fantastic supporter through the clubs that he would run, the songs that he would collect and graciously hand on to other folks. And this is one that we got from him, and he was an absolutely lovely, lovely person, and I still miss him terribly. And he was a practically perfect human being, with the exception of his support of Nottingham Forest Football Club. But I've forgiven him, and it's all fine now.
Chris is a Liverpool fan.
Yes, well, that's the way it works, you see. Anyway, this is a tune that came out. It's about the fishermen. And one of the things that's pretty neat about this is that at the end you get into some of the things that are the fishermen's superstitions, one of which is that you did not, and this went for other sailing vessels too, especially in the 1700s, you did not sail on a Friday. It was considered incredibly bad luck. I've heard one assessment of that kind of referred to that it was because that was in Christian theology when Jesus was to have been crucified, and as a result it was incredibly bad luck. Could have also had something to do with the Friday the 13th, who knows. But this one shows up in that. And lovely tune called Swell Me Not Full, which I'm doing on this Anglo concertina. Out on the ocean, weary and cold, I lead the life of a fisherman bold. Swell me net full, swell me net full, mackerel on Monday, swell me net full. Wind from the south, a wind from the east, plenty of hauling but never a feast. Swell me net full, swell me net full, sea trout on Tuesday, swell me net full. Wind from the north or wind from the west, plenty of herring will come to your mash. Swell minute full, swell minute full, whitebait on Wednesday, swell minute full. God is our master, the weather he wills, and it's with herring our bellies he fills. Swell minute full, swell minute full, herrings for Thursday, swell minute full. Stay in the harbor, look at the foam. Friday's the day that the devil does own. Swell minute full, swell minute full, nothing's for Friday, swell minute full. Tend to your nets with needle and twine, whether the weather is stormy or fine. Swell minute full, swell minute full, sand dabs for Saturday, swell minute full. When I do die and life in me fails, make me a tombstone of herringback scales. Swell minute full, swell minute full, soul is for Sunday, swell minute full. Out on the ocean, weary and cold, I lead the life of a fisherman bold. Swell minute full, swell minute full, God bless all fishermen, swell minute full. Swell minute full. Thank you, Roy.
Another shanty.
Oh, good. I like those.
Oh, yeah. And it's a double pull halyard shanty. Now, I'm starting to wonder, the shanties we've done tonight are all double pull halyard shanties.
Well, they are.
Wasn't planned that
We're
way.
setting a lot of sail. By the way, I hope you're noticing every time we say something academic like double pull halyard shanties, because there will be a short quiz after we're done.
Just trying to get it out there. It's also a love story. Some people call it a ferry boat story. And if you're at home, this is a great place to sing along, by the way. You can shout at the TV, you can at the computer.
Well, we might be on some TVs.
Yeah, yeah. So, Captain, Captain, you are a dandy. Way, shiny-o. Captain, Captain, you love your brandy. Way, shiny-o. Won't you ferry me over to Dover? Way, shiny-o. Won't you ferry me over to Dover? Way, shiny-o. Queenstown to Dover, it's 100 miles or over. Way, shiny-o. Queenstown to Dover, it's 100 miles or over. Way, shiny-o. Captain, Captain, how deep is the water? Way, shiny-o. It measures 1 inch, 6 feet and a quarter. Way, shiny-o. Shiny-o is the captain's daughter. Way, shiny-o. For her I'd sail across this water. Way, shiny-o. Shiny-o, I love you dearly. Way, shiny-o. You won my heart, oh, so no nearly. Way, shiny-o. Hens and chickens are flying over. Way, hey, shiny-o. When she pitches into Dover. Way, hey, shiny-o. Captain, Captain, you are a dandy. Way, hey, shiny-o. Captain, Captain, I love your brandy. Way, hey, shiny-o. Some strange love stories.
So many people ask, why is it that anybody would have chosen the life of a sailor? And sometimes it wasn't a choice. Not that you were shanghaied, but the life on shore just would break your heart too much. Since we are here at Caffe Lena, I need to have this disclaimer that all of the characters in this song are in fact fictitious, and any resemblance to any Sarahs living now or in the past is purely coincidental. I'll go and enlist for a sailor. A list to my sorrowful lay, and attention give to my song, I pray. When you've heard it all, you'll say, I'm an unfortunate tailor. I was happy as a bird in a tree, my sorrow was all the world to me. But I was cut out by a son of the sea, she left me here to bewail her. Why did my Sarah serve me so? No more will I stitch and no more I'll sew. My thimble and my needle to the wind I'll throw. I'll go and enlist for a sailor. Sarah was a daughter of a publican, a generous, kind, good sort of man, who spoke very plain what he thought of a man. He never looked cross at the tailor. Sarah was as tall as a poplar tree, as fair as a lily and as brisk as a bee. Many were the smiles that she smiled on me. Why was I left to bewail her? Why did my Sarah serve me so? No more will I stitch and no more I'll sew. My thimble and my needle to the wind I'll throw. I'll go and enlist for a sailor. My days were happy and my nights the same, when a man named Cobb from the ocean came, with a big black beard, a muscular frame, a captain on board of a whaler. He spent his money so frank and free, with his tales of the land and his songs of the sea. He stole my Sarah's heart from me, blighted the hopes of the tailor. Oh, why did my Sarah serve me so? No more will I stitch and no more I'll sew. My thimble and my needle to the wind I'll throw. I'll go and enlist for a sailor. I went to plead, but she did refuse. She loved another, so I must excuse her candor. And it was no use, she never could marry a tailor. When telling my love, in came that Cobb, who cried, "Avast there, you lubberly swab! If you don't belay, I'll scuttle your knob." Sarah, she smiled at the sailor. Oh, why did my Sarah serve me so? No more will I stitch and no more I'll sew. My thimble and my needle to the wind I'll throw. I'll go and enlist for a sailor. Well, now I'll cross the raging sea, since my Sarah is untrue to me. My heart's locked up and she's the key, a very unfeeling jailer. So, kind friends, alas adieu, no more my troubles will trouble you. The world I'll wander through and through. I'll go and enlist for a sailor. Oh, thank you so much. What you can't see in your viewing audience at home is that we have 3 wonderful people, all socially distant, but 3 people right here in the Caffe Lena, which means we have officially drawn a crowd here at the Caffe Lena, and we're delighted by that. Thank you. So, when that tailor ended up going back, getting on board ship, he was probably not too welcome, because those without a lot of skills, maritime-wise, were not always extraordinarily welcomed, and sometimes they were referred to derogatorily as farmers. Yeah, I know it's not PC right now to use the term, but there it is. It's historically accurate. And on the Great Lakes, there is a song that they used to sing at, here is a non-double pull halyard shanty, but a shanty nonetheless. And this does come from the Great Lakes, where various parts of Canada, maybe the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, would run copper ore or perhaps wood down into the ports like Buffalo. And if you had a greenhorn on board and you are weighing anchor and using what is called a windlass, which, imagine it's like those railroad cars with a person on either side, and they're going back and forth and keeping that kind of rhythm. And you would sing this song that could go on for hours, and might go something like this. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention. This actually started out, there are records where people noted that this was sung as a lullaby. So it's one of those tunes that may have started off on shore and then picked up by the sailors with, I am pretty confident in saying, extraordinarily different words. A farmer boy stood on the deck, goodbye, my lover, goodbye. Eating peanuts by the peck, goodbye, my lover, goodbye. Oh, goodbye, my lads, goodbye, my lover, goodbye. He should have stayed with his mules and plow, goodbye, my lover, goodbye. He thinks the rudder is in the bow, goodbye, my lover, goodbye. Oh, goodbye, my lads, goodbye, my lover, goodbye. He walks the deck with his farmer's feet, goodbye, my lover, goodbye. He don't know a halyard from a sheet, goodbye, my lover, goodbye. Oh, goodbye, my lads, goodbye, my lover, goodbye. He thinks himself the old ship's match, goodbye, my lover, goodbye. He don't know his stern from the after hatch, goodbye, my lover, goodbye. Oh, goodbye, my lads, goodbye, my lover, goodbye. He thinks himself one hell of a tar, goodbye, my lover, goodbye. As he pushes around the capstan bar, goodbye, my lover, goodbye. Oh, goodbye, my lads, goodbye, my lover, goodbye. When the green seas roll and the winds do blow, goodbye, my lover, goodbye. He'll wish himself on home to go, goodbye, my lover, goodbye. Oh, goodbye, my lads, goodbye, my lover, goodbye. When the green seas roll across our deck, goodbye, my lover, goodbye. He'll pray to the Lord for to save his neck, goodbye, my lover, goodbye. Oh, goodbye, my lads, goodbye, my lover, goodbye. When the seas they roll and the winds all night, goodbye, my lover, goodbye. It'll turn in blue and green and white, goodbye, my lover, goodbye. Oh, goodbye, my lads, goodbye, my lover, goodbye. When he has to go aloft at night, goodbye, my lover, goodbye. He'll soil his drawers in his awful fright, goodbye, my lover, goodbye. Oh, goodbye, my lads, goodbye, my lover, goodbye. He'll know aloft from down below, goodbye, my lover, goodbye. By the time we sight old Buffalo, goodbye, my lover, goodbye. Oh, goodbye, my lads, goodbye, my lover, goodbye. Oh, goodbye, my lads, goodbye, my lover, goodbye. Vast heaving would stop. That would mean stop what you're doing, stop heaving, or in the case of this young farmer, pull yourself from over the rail and come back. There's more work to be done.
Hey, why don't we do Biscaya?
Oh, we could do that. Another Grammy Fish tune. Lena Born Fish was talked about her a little bit earlier, from New Hampshire. Knew some great, great songs. Nope.
And just so you know, he tunes because you care. It's where we usually go into all those wonderful tuning jokes, but he's usually holding a banjo.
We had a friend who was 106 years old, and we had actually, for her 100th birthday, it was her 100th
birthday, sure.
We changed this around to Bernice of 96th Street O, and she just loved the heck out of it. Learned this one actually from the singing of Jeff Warner. Of all the harbors, east or west, there is one place that I love best. Whichever way the wind does blow, I'll dream of the bonny Bay of Biscay. For the girl I love is waiting there, with her eyes of blue and her golden hair. Eastward high and westward ho, I'll return to the bonny Bay of Biscay. Well, at night in my hammock I will sleep as we sail upon the briny deep. Though tempests rage and wild winds blow, I'll dream of the bonny Bay of Biscay. For the girl I love is waiting there, with her eyes of blue and her golden hair. Eastward high and westward ho, I'll return to the bonny Bay of Biscay. Well, in one more year I will settle down with my bride in this fair seaport town. She is sweeter and dearer by far I know than the winds of the bonny Bay of Biscay. For the girl I love is waiting there, with her eyes of blue and her golden hair. Eastward high and westward ho, I'll return to the bonny Bay of Biscay. For the girl I love is waiting there, with her eyes of blue and her golden hair. Eastward high and westward ho, I'll return to the bonny Bay of Biscay. Bay of Biscay.
A.
A?
A.
A.
The Coppers, the Copper family from Rottingdean in the UK, brought us many, many songs that have been sung all over the world. And, you know, there's a thing about, there's Goodbye, My Lover, which it didn't come from the Coppers. And now we're going to do an adieu, a goodbye song. So we're not leaving yet. It was a theme. Ready? Here's adieu, sweet, lovely Nancy, 10,000 times adieu. I'm going round the ocean, love, to seek for something new. Come change a ring with me, dear girl, come change a ring with me, that it might be a token of true love while I am on the sea. And when I'm far upon the sea, you'll know not where I am. Kind letters I will write to you from every foreign land. The secrets of your heart, dear girl, are the best of my goodwill. So let your body be where it might, my heart will be with you still. There's a heavy storm arising, see how it gathers round, while we poor souls on the ocean wide are fighting for the crown. There's nothing to protect us, love, or keep us from the cold, on the ocean wide where we must bide like jolly seamen bold. There are tinkers, tailors, and shoemakers lie snoring fast asleep, while we poor souls on the ocean wide are plowing through the deep. Our officers commanded us, and them we must obey, expecting every moment for to get cast away. And when the wars are over, there'll be peace on every shore. We'll return to our wives and our families and the girls that we adore. We'll call for liquor merrily and spend our money free. And when our money it is all gone, we will boldly go to sea. I don't know, that's the same story all over again. You know, you go to sea, you go to shore, you spend all your money, you go back to sea.
You go back to sea. That's exactly what it was. This is a tune probably written in around 1867, I believe. And I believe his name was Carpenter. I may be wrong about that. I'm sure I will be straightened out by one of my many friends. And this was just a lovely little tune that ended up when the Warners collected it in North Carolina, I believe. And if you're familiar with that version, you're going to notice that there is a slight difference because for this one we went back to the original broadside. Now, broadside was like, they were sometimes known as penny sheets, or you would, the same way that we Google lyrics, these lyrics would be sold on a street corner for, say, a penny a sheet.
A penny a page.
A penny a page. What? Which is why they're called penny. Oh, man. Chris's Epiphany, and you are there. It's been a year since this last we met. We may never meet again. I have struggled to forget, but the struggle was in vain. For her voice lives on the breeze, her spirit comes at will in the midnight on the seas. Her bright smile haunts me still in the midnight on the seas. Her bright smile haunts me still. I have sailed 'neath alien skies, and I've traveled hazard's path. I have seen the storm arise like a giant in his wrath. Every danger I have known that a reckless life can fill, yet her presence is not flown. Her bright smile haunts me still, yet her presence is not flown. Her bright smile haunts me still. At the first sweet dawn of light, as I gaze upon the deep, her form still greets my sight as the stars their vigil keep. As I close my aching eyes, sweet dreams my memory fills, and from sleep when I arise, her bright smile haunts me still, and from sleep when I arise, her bright smile haunts me still.
Thank you. Do you want to say anything?
Yeah. Been a tough run for a great many of us. The one year ago in April, who was like a second mom. This would be Marion Fiedler down in Greenport on Long Island. And the most recent was our very dear Rosalie Clark, such a great friend to Caffe, Lena, and to us. And their smiles I will always remember and take with us. And this tune, a number of folks have done it. I believe one of the first times, one of the earliest recordings of this was actually by Sandy and Caroline Payton.
I think that's where I learned it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it came out of probably a Friends or Shaker tradition, and it goes like this.
Fathers, now our meeting is over. Fathers, we must part. And if I never see you anymore, I'll love you in my heart. We will land on the shore. We will land on the shore. We will land on the shore. must part.
And if I never see you anymore, I'll love you in my heart.
We will land on the shore. We will land on the shore. We will land on the shore and be safe forevermore. Children, now our meeting is over. Children, we must part. And if I never see you anymore, I'll love you in my heart. We will land on the shore. We will land on the shore. We will land on the shore and be safe forevermore.
Singers, now our meeting is over. Singers, we must part. And if I never see you anymore, I'll love you in my heart. We will land on the shore. We will land on the shore. We will land on the shore and be safe forevermore. Going home. Northern part of Scotland. The waters between the mainland and the outer islands, one of which is called Mingulay. One part of that water is called the Minch, and the weather is so fierce that it turns that otherwise dark, dark water white. Although Mingulay, this is actually composed for a choir back in the day, gotten into the tradition. And Mingulay used to be inhabited, but it no longer is. But still, when you have those fishermen coming back and they see Mingulay there, they'll know that home is not far away. Please sing along. We know you're there. Yield your whole voice. Let her go, boys. Bring her head around into the weather. Yield your whole voice. Let her go, boys, sailing homeward into Mingulay. What care we how white the minch is? What care we for the winter weathers? Turn her round for every inch is sailing homeward to Mingulay. Heal your Others are waiting on the bank or looking seaward from the heather. Bring her on, boys, and we'll anchor ere the sun sets on Bingley. Hear your boys, let her go, boys. Bring her head round into the weather. Heal your boys, let her go, boys, sailing homeward to Bingley. Thank you all so much for being here today. Thank you for being there always. We really, really do appreciate it. Many, many thanks to the tireless work that is done by the folks here at Caffe Lena. Specifically, Joe, our sound guy, who has hit all the right buttons, and we know what we're talking about. Thank you.
And Carolyn.
Who's been clapping. She's been bringing down the house. It's great. There are actually ceiling tiles that are, I mean, she's muted, but so you can't really hear it, but ceiling tiles have crumbled to the ground in her exuberance. It's been lovely.
And she's been monitoring the chat.
And monitoring the chat.
And behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes, our videographer, I guess, do we call him that? I don't know what we call him.
Cameraman? I don't know.
It's the Wizard.
The Wizard.
I love it. Oh my goodness. Wow, you mean after the show maybe I can actually get a brain?
And thanks, of course, to Sarah Craig. And it's been a pleasure having Old Songs at Caffe Lena. For those of you who don't know, I'm the executive director of Old Songs, and we're happy to bring you this week some sea music, and then soon John Roberts, and I won't tell you what he'll be doing.
Why don't you tell them more about Old Songs?
Well, Old Songs, which is mostly traditional music and dance. We do have some singer-songwriters, as if you've been to the festival. We've been having festivals for, well, 2020 would have been our 40th festival, and we went virtual. So, and unfortunately, we're going virtual again this year. So, but we're still going strong and looking forward to meeting you again in person in the not-too-distant future. Are you ready?
Probably. Oh, my goodness. We've been keeping it very, very traditional today, mostly traditional. This song, in my heartfelt opinion, is just too important to the way this year has gone to not do it. There was an interview with a Canadian, I believe, Coast Guard, who had been wrecked in the waters off of Nova Scotia. And he credited the chorus of this song in those icy, frigid waters with actually saving his life, because he just kept repeating that chorus over and over again. And we send this out to everybody who might need it, who needs it now, or who might have ever needed it. Thank you all so much from the bottom of our hearts. It has been an honor to be on this stage, and it's been an absolute pleasure to be here for you. Thank you. Last October in a pouring, driving rain. Skipper, he'd been drinking and the mate, he felt no pain. Too close to 3 Mile Rock and she was dealt a mortal blow, and Mary Ellen Carter settled low. There was just us 5 aboard her when she finally was awash. We'd worked like hell to save her, all heedless of the cost. But the groan she gave as she went down caused us to proclaim, let the Mary Ellen Carter rise again. Now the owners rode her off, not a nickel would they spend. She gave 20 years of service, boys, and met her sorry end. Insurance paid the loss to us, so let her rest below. And they laughed at us and said we had to go. But we talked of her all winter, some days around the clock. She's worth $250,000 floating at the dock. And with every jaw that hit the bar, we swore we would remain, make the Mary Ellen Carter rise again. Rise again, rise again. Let her name not be lost to the knowledge of men. All those who loved her best and were with her till the end will make the Mary Ellen Carter rise again. All spring now we've been with her on a barge lent by a friend. 3 dives a day in a hard hat suit, and twice I've had the bends. Thank God it's only 60 feet and the currents here are slow, or I'd never have the strength to go below. Well, we patched her ensign, stopped her vents, tog hatch and portal down, put cables to her fore and aft, girded her around. Tomorrow noon we'll hit the air and then take up the strain and make the Mary Ellen Carter rise again. Rise again, rise again. Let her name not be lost to the knowledge of men. All those who loved her best and were with her till the end will make the Mary Ellen Carter rise again. For we couldn't leave her there, you see, to crumble into scale. She'd saved our lives so many times, living through the gales, and the laughing drunken rats who left her to a sorry grave, they won't be laughing in another day. And you to whom adversity has dealt the final blow, with smiling bastards lying to you everywhere you go, turn to and put out all your strength of arm and heart and brain, like the Mary Ellen Carter rise again. Rise again, rise again. Though your heart it be broken and life about to end, no matter what you've lost, be it a home, a love, a friend, like the Mary Ellen Carter rise again. Rise again, rise again. Though your heart dared it be broken, in life about to end. No matter what you've lost, be it a home, a love, a friend, like the Mary Ellen Carter, rise again. Stan Rogers, thank you all so much. Thanks to Caffe Lena and everybody. And thank you for being the best wife on this stage.
Thank you.
She's the best wife on the planet.
He didn't say which planet.